welcome to the first video of our portfolio project. So, in the last video we talked a little bit about what the portfolio project is going to be, and that's going to be this website. We are using the same colors as the Devscorch website because I really like the blue and the purple. If you want, you can open your skeleton project. The skeleton project is in the download in the content you downloaded from the website associated with this course. I already imported all the images we are going to use, the CSS and the index.html. And in the last videos we also talked about the grid, and this is what we're going to use to build our website. So I'm going to save this, refresh, perfect. Okay, so let's go to our designs and let's see what we have here. Okay, so we're gonna start with the navigation, and now we're gonna do something new, something we didn't do before. As you remember, we have the div class, and we're gonna call this website container. Okay, so first I'm gonna add the index.css to this side. Okay, we can delete. Now we can keep this. That is for the that's for the grid, so that we can see it. So first thing we're gonna call is .website container. So the website container is a little bit like the body, and everything that's inside the container is gonna be seen on the screen. So we're gonna call margin top of 0 pixels. We're gonna call margin bottom 0 pixels, margin left 0 pixels, margin right 0 pixels. Okay, so we created that container. And this is the container where we have all the where we have like all the information we want to have inside our website. So we're gonna open another div class. We're gonna call this first container. Okay, so when we go to our designs, the first container, that is this blue one, and it has a height of 700. So we go in here, we're gonna call first container, and we're gonna give this a minimum height, so min height of 700 pixels. And we're gonna call a background color. Let's see what the background color is. It's the hex code. I'm gonna add an extra file with all the colors we are using, so you don't have to write the colors, you just can copy paste them if you want. Okay. Okay, and we don't need to do width, because the width is gonna be on the same as the website container, so 0 pixels, 0 margin, and we're gonna give this a margin right 0 pixels. Okay, so small recap what we did. So we created a website container. That is like all the information that we want to display on our website, and in that we created our first container, and that is the container with our navbar and some other information. So inside the first container we're gonna go class. We're gonna call div class row. So that is like in the grid CSS, right? Those columns in the row, pretty cool. And inside the row we're gonna call div class of call 12. Okay, and here we're gonna call nav. So we call the row like we have in our grid.css. I'm gonna put this on this side. So we have the row, It has a display of flags and a width of 100%. And in here we call the col 12. So when we go look at the col 12, so the 12th column is 100% as well. So that means that everything we put in there is stretched over the whole width of the website. So inside there we're gonna call UL of class Navbar. Gonna close this, and inside the UL we're gonna call li of class. We're gonna call this list item with a dash. Wait, not list. We're gonna call this nav item. Gonna close it, and inside there we're gonna call href, and we're gonna close that one up, and we're gonna give this the name of home. Save. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna copy this one. I think we need 4, right? Let's check the designs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so so we're gonna paste one more in. So the first thing is home. The second one is about, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check again. About, skills, portfolio. Okay, so this is gonna be about, skills, portfolio, and the last one is pricing. Yes, perfect. Wrong one. Okay. So what we did till now, we created a navbar class. We created a list items with the name of nav item, and we call the href. So we're gonna give the href a class because I forgot, and we're gonna call this nav link. So we're gonna copy the class. We're gonna paste it inside the href statements. Okay. So as you can see now, we created 3 new classes. So first we're gonna structure our index a little bit. So we're gonna open up here our comment, and we're gonna call this containers. Okay, so here are all the containers, right? And for the navbar, as you can see in the skeleton project, I created a navigation.css, and that is because I really like to keep stuff separate. So when you build like a multi-page website, you're not gonna write all the navigation in one CSS file and import for example the index.css. No, you're gonna put it inside the navigation. So we're gonna put the navigation here, and we're gonna open up a comment. We're gonna call this navigation CSS. Okay, so in here we're gonna call .navbar. We're gonna give this a margin dash left of auto. We're gonna call this a margin dash right of auto. We're gonna give this a margin dash top of 30 pixels. Just to check if it's, I think 30 pixels will be enough. Maybe we're gonna do 40, maybe 20, who knows. So under the navbar, we're gonna call the nav item. So we're gonna call dot nav dash item, and wait a second, we're gonna go give this a display of inline and a nav item. So the nav item, that is the list, and we're gonna go give this a display of inline. I'm gonna give this a margin dash, no, we don't need a margin, just display is okay. And under the nav item, we're gonna call dot nav dash link. Okay, so inside the link, nav link. We're gonna give this. We have to import. Our font. So I'm gonna open up. We're gonna go to Google, and I need the Ubuntu font. Go to design.ubuntu. And then we're gonna see if we can. Oh, wait a second. Here we're gonna download it. We're gonna open it on Google Web Fonts, so that we don't have to. We're gonna take Dalton Mag, and we're gonna select all these just in case you want to change something, or in case we need it. Okay, we go to embed, and as you remember maybe, we go to import. We copy the whole import, and we're gonna paste it right there. Okay, so on the top you have the font imported. And now if you remember, if you want, you can take this one, copy it as well, and we're gonna put this in the nav link. We're gonna give this a text align of center, and we're gonna give this a color of white. Okay. So let's check how it looks on the website now. Okay, so as you can see, we have created our container. As you can see now, we also have like a background color. That's not really nice. We're going to change that later. And as you can see, we still have like the red aligning from the Navbar, but we're gonna turn that off. So we go to grid.css, and we're gonna comment out this one. So the color, gonna open it up again, and now we don't see it. This is perfect. Okay, so as you can see, we still have to change some things, so let's go. And we're gonna do text align of center as well. Let's see what happens. That's not it. So this is a little bit how development works. So instead of text align, I think we're gonna change display to block. Maybe that works. Okay, this does center it. And we're gonna delete this. Okay, now I see what the problem is. Inline, and we're gonna give this one of block. Okay, so now we have this horizontal, and now we're gonna center it. So we're gonna give the nav. We're gonna give the nav bar. There's like a margin left and margin right. Gonna add a text align of center. Let's see what happens there if we do this. Okay, so that worked. This looks pretty cool now. So we have a website, we have a first container, and we have our navigation. And it looks pretty awesome. And let's see, maybe we can change the font size a little bit. The font size is 19. So we're gonna give our nav link a font size of 19 pixels. And we're gonna give this a font weight of bold. Save this, let's check it out, let's see how it looks. This is a lot better, this is a lot better. This looks really, really, really nice. This looks amazing. So it's always good practice to put in the href, I think it's called a bracket maybe, I don't know. That's always good. It's always good practice so that it doesn't load. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna give the nav link we're gonna give this a little bit of spacing, right? A little bit of spacing. So we're gonna call padding of 10 pixels. Let's see what happens. A little bit more, huh? Let's say 20 pixels. Yeah, this looks pretty nice actually, I think. This looks pretty nice. We're going to change it a little bit more to 25. Yes. Wow. This looks amazing. So, we created an amazing navigation. As you can see, it's not responsive yet. We're going to implement some responsiveness later. So, after the UL, we close up the navigation. We close this one up, and then we have the call, and there we have the row, right? So under the row, we're gonna call div, we're gonna call class, we're gonna call row. So now this is something we didn't do before. I think we called two row of. This is something we didn't do at all actually, because we created first a container and after that a row. So now we're gonna put two rows in the same container. And yes, this is good practice. You can do this, that's not a problem. So we're gonna call div, we're gonna call class, and in the div class we're gonna call call-12. Okay, and inside the call-12 we're gonna call div class, and the div class we're gonna call intro-text, and close. Open it up. In here we're gonna call h2 of class intro-h2. Okay, so wait a second, we don't need to open that one up. Okay, so let's see what we have in the design. Hi, I'm Johan. Okay, so we're gonna call hi, I'm Johan. Okay, so now we go to our index.css because we keep everything from our CSS separate, and we're gonna open up a new comment, and we're gonna call this container one. Wait, first container content, and close it up. So inside here we're gonna call dot intro dash text. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna give this a margin dash left of auto. We're gonna call the margin dash right of auto, and we're gonna give this a margin top of 50 pixels. Just to start, right? Because later we're gonna change that. And we have the intro-h2, so intro-h2, and we're gonna give this a color of white, and we're gonna give a second. First, we're gonna import the font here as well. This is something I really didn't think about, but I created like one font CSS file in the Devscorch website, and I didn't think about it to do it here, so we just keep it like this now. In the grid we don't need it. Okay, so here we go to navigation. We can copy the font family as well. Okay, so that looks nice. I'm gonna give this a font weight of bold. I'm gonna save them both, and let's see what happens if we go to the website. Hi, I'm Johan. That's pretty cool. But there's one more thing we need to add in the intro.h2, and I think you already guessed it. It's called text align of center. Save this. Let's check it out. This looks really cool. but we need a little bit more spacing here, so we're gonna change the margin a little bit of the intro text, and we're gonna give this margin top of 90. Pretty cool, huh? I'm really happy with this, but I think H2 is too small, right? So we're gonna change this all to H1. We're gonna change the class to H1 as well, and also in the CSS, to keep it really nice and clean, and so that we know what we are talking about. Okay, something went wrong here. Wait a second. I was already scared, I forgot to save it. So, hi, I'm Johan. Pretty cool. So, we created a small intro now. We go back to our design. And we have iOS developer, backend developer, frontend developer. Okay. So, inside the intro.txt, we're gonna open up another H1 of class intro dash text, and we're gonna close this. Okay, so, and I wrote iOS developer, backend developer. So, iOS developer, backend developer, frontend developer, and I think I also, no, only those three. Okay, that is perfect. So we're gonna delete this one, save this, and inside the intro, beside the intro.h1, we're gonna call intro dash text. Okay, so what we're gonna do here, we're gonna give this a text align. Oh, we don't need to do, yes, we do need to do a text line, but we're gonna change this. We're gonna delete the text line here in the intro h1 as well, and we're gonna put this inside the intro text. And this means that all the text that's inside the intro text is aligned automatically in the center, so we don't need to write it 2, 3, or 4 times. Pretty smart, huh? So we're gonna give this a color of white. I'm gonna copy these two. And of course we could have put this also in the intro text as well. But maybe in the future you want to change, you want to work with different fonts. Maybe let's say Ubuntu and the other one is Helvetica Neue, for example. Then it's easy to have it here. Okay, but we're gonna give this font size. Let's check the design. What is the size of this one? It's 31 pixels. So we go back here. 31 pixels. I'm gonna save them both, and let's see what happens if we go to the website. Okay, here's something going wrong. Because now he gives like the he makes this one really big and this one is small. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna change the H1 here. We're gonna change it to P from paragraph, because normally they are a little bit more forgiving with this. Apparently they are not. Why isn't this working? Save, save. Oh, wait a second, I already see what the problem is. I used 2 times the same class. So, intro text, we're gonna change that one to P, intro P, and then the CSS as well, intro P. So this was like a programmer mistake, right? But this is a little bit how it works, and you don't need to be ashamed of it. This is how it goes. So we're gonna give this a font size of 31 pixels. I'm gonna save them both, and let's see what happens here if we refresh. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna give this a little bit more spacing, because in the design it's a little bit more down. And we're gonna give this a margin dash top of 30 pixels. Let's see what happens. Nothing. Make this 50 pixels. Okay, a little bit more, maybe 70 pixels. Yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, I have to say this looks truly amazing. So, we created our first container. Till now, the last thing we're gonna add are these buttons here. So, pretty amazing what we are doing here, guys. It's pretty cool. So, we created 2 rows now, and now we're gonna add a 3rd row. So, we're gonna call div class row. Close this up. And in here, we're also gonna call div class of call 12. We're gonna close this one, open it up, and we're gonna call this social, we're gonna call this div class social buttons. Pretty cool. So, inside here, we're gonna call image class social button. Okay. And we're gonna give this, I think it was source. Okay. And the source, let's check it out. Where's the source? That is images. Images dash Facebook. Okay. So, if you want, you can copy this one. You don't need to. You don't need to retype it every time, just copy it, it's easier. I'm gonna call this Pinterest, go away. And I think we also have Twitter, yeah we have. And the last one, let's check the design. We have Instagram, Facebook, we have YouTube, exactly. And we're gonna call YouTube. So let's save this. Let's go here and let's see what happens. Okay, so we have the first image there, the first button, and the rest of the buttons are not being displayed. Why aren't they being displayed? Okay, so we go back here. Wait a second, I already see it. This is why maybe copy pasting is not the best, the best way, because sometimes you make mistakes. But as I said before, this is how it works, and I'm really happy with this, the way how it's going. So we are still in our first container. We're gonna call dot social buttons. Open it up. I'm gonna give this a margin dash left of auto. I'm gonna give this a margin dash right of auto. I'm gonna give this a display of block. And I'm gonna give this a margin dash top of 70 pixels. Just to try it out, let's see what happens. Okay. Pretty cool. Under that, wait a second, I have to change this again because I forgot. Okay, a score. And there we're gonna call social button. Okay, we're gonna give this some padding. No, we're gonna give this some margin of 30 pixels. Let's see what happens. Maybe we need padding. Pretty cool. After some trying, we're gonna call text align off center inside the social buttons container. Gonna save this, go back. Okay, so now the buttons are perfectly centered. This looks really, really nice. One more thing we're gonna do, because this is something I'm really not happy with. Above the container, we're gonna call body. I'm gonna give this a background color. Oh. We're gonna give this the same background color as we gave to our first container. Let's save this. That is much better. So we finished our first video. We created a navigation bar. We created an H1 with our information. We created a paragraph with our title, and we created social buttons. So in the next video, we're gonna start with the second container, and so on and so on. So I hope you learned something in this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And let's get started with the second container.